What's going on, bro? Are we missing games yet?
Man, I am. It's a little strange now. It's been what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks since a game happened. Who knows how long it's gonna be too with the CBA stuff. Hopefully, they're
Yeah,
gonna be on time, but we never know. So,
yeah.
we'll see what
I
happens.
I mean, I'm a big NBA fan, so I've been following that a lot. I've had that to hold me over. But obviously, I wish I had both. But
Yeah, it is what it is. There's been a lot of moves going on though, like with pitchers especially.
yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. Let's start. I guess let's start Syndergaard. Um,
Oh, man.
1 year, 21 million with the Angels. I mean, as a Mets fan, I was bummed. I was bummed, man. I like he's barely even pitched in 2 years, but he was just like a fan favorite. He was electric
Yeah,
when he was healthy.
absolutely.
Um, and let me tell you, like I'm sure he wins Cy Young next year. I'm sure he just
Mhm.
strikes out like 220 guys. Like
Man,
I'm curious as someone who does have a stake in it, what you actually thought of the deal. But
um, to be honest with you, I think the 21 million coming off of him barely pitching the past like 2 years was kind of a lot.
that's
And I
fair.
know I know we'll get into another big deal that happened with the Astros with a certain pitcher we all know in a little bit, who all got paid even more after coming off an injury. But look, Syndergaard obviously is dominant, but he has a lot of injury history too. You know that pretty
Yeah.
well, even without the Tommy John. Like he had a lot of
Hmm.
times where he was out with a shoulder, whatever, like a hamstring. He had a lot of weird injuries.
He got
So I thought that was a
Coxsackie.
little bit right.
Yeah, that
You
was my
love that
favorite of them all. Yeah, I
disease.
love
That
that
was a
one.
good one. Um, Honestly, like I didn't think he was gonna get more though AAV than the qualifying offer, and like he just got 21. I mean, I don't know, man. To me, it's like it's the Angels too, so it's like take it as you will. But also, if they're giving him 21 million, like they better have some kind of plan to get some other pitchers because if you're gonna, why would you pay him that much if you're not gonna get other guys? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like that they have to have a plan.
Yeah, like this can't be a standalone deal. You
No,
can't count on him to be your number one next year, and maybe he turns into that. But again, you
right.
don't know that.
And like if you
Um,
think about it too, though, like him and Otani, let's say like they both stay healthy, like that's a great 1-2.
that's
But
true. That's true.
it's a big like what if because Otani's going to be hitting too. It's like is he going to be able to repeat what he did this year? We don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, man. But good for him. I mean, I think it's just strange, man. I loved him in New York, even when like I'm not a Mets fan. I loved it. And I think he's like going to somewhere more quieter. Like he's Thor, dude. How is he going to like the Angels? It's not like he's going
right.
to the
Like
Dodgers either. Like
if you told me he
if
goes to the Dodgers, I could maybe see
right,
that. But yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't seem to fit him.
like if it was like Dodgers or Red Sox even, or I don't know, like teams like that, even the Astros, like there would just be something following him. And like now it's just the Angels, and it's kind of like, oh well, he's just going there to like have a shitty year, and they're not going to make the playoffs. It's like that's
right.
just what people view the Angels as now. Maybe this turns it around though.
I mean, like the other thing too was I think on the last day of the season he had a press conference. He was like, "Oh, I can't picture myself anywhere else than the Mets." So I I almost think like something happened. Like there was like he wanted to return, and they either wouldn't give him the money, or he was so turned off by like how dysfunctional this offseason has been with the
Right.
GM situation, all that, that he was like, no, there's just no way I can stay here. So maybe we'll never know, but
To me though, it's interesting because like they were offering him $18.4 million. It's not that far off from what he got.
right,
So I
right.
think the front office thing that you said is exactly why he didn't come back. And like,
So
it's
sad.
like you I guess you can't necessarily like blame him either because let's
No,
face it, like
no.
it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for you guys to find a GM now.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
like
it's been a
I
mess.
understand from the like I understand it, but like, dude, I mean, he's gonna miss pitching next to like DeGrom because DeGrom was probably such a big help for him too. Um, and I think like obviously again, he's going to pitch next to Otani and whoever else they sign, if they sign anybody. So it could be the same situation, but no one's DeGrom, dude. I'm sorry. Like Otani's great, but he's not as good a pitcher as DeGrom is. So
Right. So I mean, yeah, and to your point, we'll see where the Angels go with this.
Yeah.
We'll shift to Detroit. So they signed Eduardo Rodriguez, 5 years, 77 mil. What do you think of that?
I was a little surprised, to be honest with you. I really had a feeling E-Rod was going to stay with Boston just because like
Hmm.
he's been a staple there for so long. But I like we talked about last week. I said he was going to stay in Boston, but I also said that he had his best FIP last year, even though he had his worst ERA season.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of made teams way more interested in him than I even thought they would be. Um, I mean, dude, Detroit obviously they're kind of on the come up now.
Hmm.
They're in talks about maybe signing Correa.
Yeah, that one
You know,
surprised me, but you never know.
I mean, again, I think they're doing the right thing. Like they've done the rebuild now, and they're starting to get back. Like we've seen teams do this. The Astros back in the day, or the Mariners are beginning to do the same. The Blue
Yeah.
Jays, you know what I mean? Like teams have begun to do this more, and I think it's a great deal. Honestly, 5 years, 77. I thought he would get at least 100 million if he was on the open market. So
I
I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, I mean that's about 15.4 average a year. So
Yeah.
I like it. Like you're saying, he was deceivingly good last year. So
Right.
yeah, see Detroit makes any more moves after that. Shifting to Toronto, they re-signed Jose Berrios for 7 years, 131. So I like that one a lot. I think like he's not. I like the priority now is Ray, obviously, resign him. But to have Berrios as your probably your second guy.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think like Berrios had his best career season last year too, combined with the Twins and the Blue Jays. And like to me, dude, he also proved that like he can pitch in that monster of an AL East pretty well.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like he had a couple of games against us where he was just flat out dominant. He had a great games against Boston too, and like we were the top dogs really. The Rays, I don't know how much he pitched against the Rays. I don't remember many games, so I don't know how he did against the Rays, but I know
Hmm.
specifically against us in Boston, he had some good games. So yeah, I mean, I think 131 million for a guy like this, that's a guy like I think that's a great deal, man. 7 years, I believe. How old is he? Maybe close to 30, maybe
Yeah,
31,
around there. Yeah.
something like that. I mean, man, I think he found something in Toronto too with the pitching coach. You can say the same thing about Robbie Ray. Man, this dude's curveball or slurve, whatever you want to call his pitch, is nasty too. So I think he's kind of got more control with Toronto too. Whatever the pitching coaches are doing over there, I think it's helping them out. So, like you said, Ray is definitely the next priority over there.
Yeah. So I mean, this is about 18 million a year. So it's a pretty good value for your basically your number two guy. Um,
Yeah.
and then the last one, as you alluded to, Justin Verlander has re-signed with the Astros for a 1 year, $25 million deal with a second year player option. It's like it's slightly risky, even though it's a 1 year deal. Like that's a lot of money for a guy who's really not pitched in a while now. But he's also Justin Verlander.
Yeah. This one was kind of a kick in the teeth for me too because the Yankees were really in on him. Honestly, though, because of this, I don't think he was ever going to leave Houston. I think
Mm.
he had the showcase to maybe see how much money he could get. 25 million is a lot of money for a 1 year deal for a guy that is 39 years old. But
Yeah.
he's also Justin Verlander, like you said. Would it surprise either of us if he went out and won the Cy Young this year? Probably not.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's probably going to be worth the money unless he's not the same, but I don't see how he won't be. They said he was throwing 96 in the showcase. I think he'll be fine.
No, I'm sure he'll be like in the seventh inning of games next year, pumping like a good 97. Like
Yeah,
he's durable, man. So
no. Man, just the fantasy was there for like Verlander and Cole to be on the Yankees together again. Like
yeah,
I wanted it so badly, but you know what? I think he had his mind set and he just wanted to get more than the qualifying offer and the Astros were probably like, "Well, sure, what do you want? Just write down what you want and we'll give it to you," honestly. So,
like good play by him.
yeah.
So shifting to awards, we have most of them in the books now. I believe MVP will be announced tonight, so that will not be in here. But As far as rookie of the year goes, not really a surprise. Randy Rosarena took the AL and Jonathan India took the NL. I feel like that's kind of what we expected.
Yeah, that was probably my guess. Again, I thought that Ryan Mountcastle and Adolis Garcia should have been in the final vote, but
Hmm.
out of the three guys there, Arozarena, he had 20 homers and 20 stolen bases in his so-called rookie season. I don't even know if he should still be considered a rookie after what he's been through
Definitely
throughout
feels
his
like he's
career.
not, but
But yeah, I mean, listen, he had an 815 OPS. He's a great outfielder. He has a lot of speed, so I think that was really easy. Even
yeah,
though Franco played good, the sample size was too small for me because Arozarena played 141 games, and I believe Franco only played about 70 or 80.
right,
So it
right.
was way less. And for India, he had a great season, like we've talked about, 835 OPS. Funny stat about him too. He actually led the league in hit by pitches with 23.
Oh,
That's kind of an odd stat for a rookie, I think. But
that's a lot. 23.
like maybe does he crowd the plate? I don't know. But 23 is a lot.
Yeah,
Um, so I think they were both well deserving, though.
yeah. Shifting to manager of the year, not a lot to touch on here. Gabe Kapler won it for the Giants. I feel like we kind of expected that one. Kevin Cash repeated for the Rays. So that was interesting. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I'm not sure what the deal was with that, but it's still pretty cool. Again, I would have gone Scott Service on this.
Yeah.
Um, like I think people that don't see the Rays as often as I do, or even you do, like feel like, oh, this is such a big accomplishment to like win 100 games. But like to me, I'm not surprised at all because they've been doing this now for like 3 or 4 years in a row. It
Hmm.
still is interesting that they did it though without Glass now and without a really like veteran starting rotation or anything. But yeah, Kapler in the NL for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's an odd award. I feel like there's no one has like a clear understanding of what we're voting for or what they're voting for. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So and then Cy Young is where it gets a little more interesting. So Robbie Ray took it home in the AL. We've been through stats before, but 284 ERA. He led the league in ERA, games started, innings pitched, strikeouts. So I feel like we kind of saw that one coming.
yeah.
NL is where it got close, man. So Corbin Burns took it home, but it was 150 points wise. It was 151 to 141 with Zach Wheeler being second place. So like this, like it really could have gone either way. I'm curious what you thought.
Yeah. So what was cool about this too is that they both had the same amount of first place votes too. And
Yeah, yeah,
Burns had more second place votes, which is what made it 151 over 141. I mean, honestly, I could have flipped a coin. I thought they both had really great seasons. I mean, Burns had the better ERA. He led the league in strikeouts per nine, FIP
mm-hmm.
too, and he also led the league in home runs allowed per nine. So I think that's a great stat for a starting pitcher to have because
True.
like a lot of times they have high home runs per nine, like Verlander or Cole. Even like a lot of the runs they do give up are just off of
Yeah,
home runs. So I think for Burns to be that good plus not allow any home runs is we don't really see that anymore. But Wheeler had a great season. I mean, you saw it firsthand all the time
yeah.
because you guys played him a lot. So I don't know. Did you think Burns was the definite winner, or did you think Wheeler should
I
have won
thought he should have won it. I figured even with this, I know we get into advanced stats a little bit. His FIP was like 1.6, so like but basically he was better than he looked.
it? Right.
So, and another thing too, I had forgotten he had like this is just more interesting fact, like an 8 ERA last year. So he was really coming back from
Yeah. So I think that it was in 2019.
19.
His
Okay,
first.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
But it was his first like full season. Yeah, you're right though. I think his ERA was like 8.82 that year. He
Mm-hmm.
pitched in 32 games. I don't think they were all starts, but he did pitch
No,
in
no.
32 games. And like dude, I looked at his FIP from that year. His FIP was like 6 point something. So like he wasn't even
Yeah.
supposed to be that much better. It wasn't like it was that inflated. Like sure, it was inflated 2 runs from 6 to 8. But like
Right. Right.
it was still above 6. So like for him to come back last year during the shortened season and he was like pretty solid. and then come back this year and just be completely outright unhittable. Really, is unbelievable to me.
Yeah. And then last little bit on this, we were talking about how close first place was. Max Scherzer also got 6 first place votes. So this was really like a three-way thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was no wrong answer, but
I believe in the American League. I think Ray got 29 first place votes and Cole only got one, and then Lynn didn't get any. I think that was the way that went.
yeah.
So that's a little bit of a comparison to like how Ray was kind of above and beyond in the American League, and the National League, he really could have gone anyway with that. And like Bueller was in the conversation too. He didn't even get any first
Mm-hmm.
place votes, but he easily could have. So
Right. I mean, you got guys like DeGrom and Gossman that like fell off one
yeah,
reason or another. So it was really a
Wainwright.
deep class. Wainwright.
To me too, Wainwright was like should have been in the conversation, but it's like you need like 10 people in it to get first place votes, honestly, because like they
Right.
all
Right.
deserve them. So
Yeah. No, it was competitive, no doubt.
yeah.
And then last thing to shift to, uh, see like this, I don't even really want to talk about this. The Mets, they have hired a GM. It is Billy Epler, former Angels GM from 2015 to 2020, who's also the Yankees assistant GM from 2012 to 2014. So like they got their guy. Um, like I will say the track record with the Angels was not good at all. With the team that had Trout for all of it and then Trout and Ohtani for the latter years, like
And they
did
had
not make the
Pujols
playoffs. Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. I mean, they had Rendon for part of it.
Yeah. Um, to me, like I forget exactly what happened too, but the Angels won the division in 2014, and
Right.
Epler was not the GM. I don't know what happened after that. Like, did somebody leave and then they just put Epler there, and
I
then
guess so.
I
Yeah.
don't know what happened. I forget, but I mean, again, like I think he kind of maybe this is like a fresh start for him. Because
Yeah.
like I know he's like obviously he's comfortable enough in New York because he was our assistant GM with the Yankees for 3 years. So, you know, obviously he wasn't like in the spotlight as the main guy, but like he was there and there were people talking about him. I remember the name honestly from back in the day. Um, and we made the playoffs all 3 of those years with the Yankees, I think. So
Hmm.
obviously he wasn't the one calling all the shots, but he saw what Cashman was doing. Not to say Cashman's the best GM ever, but like Cashman has had success, obviously. So I think
Right.
that's helpful. And I've also heard that Epler and David Stearns are pretty good friends. And Stearns, his contract is up after next year as the president of baseball ops for the Brewers. So are the Mets about to make like some powerhouse front office where it's Epler and
See, like,
Stearns? I mean,
and that I feel like that's one of the theories that like they're just weighing it out for Stearns.
right.
I don't
I
even
mean,
know,
that would be a
man.
hell of a front office, honestly. If you had Epler and Stearns in the top as the top guys there, I mean, that would be something.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I thought when Stevie came in, I thought this was like like a fresh start. Like, we don't have to worry about like these things anymore. I I'm gonna give Eppler a shot. And I mean, granted, he made some big moves. Like he was the one that brought Rendon in, he brought
Right.
Otani in. So like,
Like he tried to do things. It's not like he sat there and did nothing.
right. I mean, they had so many issues going with that team the last 5, 6 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess.
What was his? It was for 4 years, I think, or 5 years. They have him for a while, so like I think it was something like that.
Yeah, it was
Um,
it was a substantial amount of time.
yeah,
So
we'll
I
see.
yeah, it has not been a fun off season so far. I mean, God forbid they
I'm telling you
lose.
though, if I'm Billy Epler, what I'm doing before December 1st, when the CBA stuff could happen, is that I'm signing Baez within the next 2 weeks
I
because
was just
that'll
about to
give the
say,
Mets
I
something to be
was
happy about.
no right. Like Baez and Stroman are sitting there now. I mean, like if they're not locked up, this could get ugly. So
Yeah, we'll see what
I
he
don't
does,
know.
man. Hopefully he proves all the Mets fans wrong out there that think he's not going to do good, and he brings you guys to the playoffs next year.
Yeah, yeah. Quick little tidbit on the qualifying offer news. Brandon Belt, out of 14 players, was the only one to actually accept that for the Giants. So he will be coming back next year. Um, which is kind of a segue into what we're touching on today. So we're talking NL West and AL West. So for the NL West, give me a little offseason preview of these teams.
Yeah, so again, like we did last week, we're kind of going to go in standings order the way it ended last year. So I'm going to talk about the Giants first. Obviously, I think getting Brandon Belt back is awesome. I think he's kind of considered like the captain over there, right? The captain of the Giants, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so I was going to say that first base was in need until that got announced yesterday. So now they got their guy back.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if you look at the Giants, I think they got a lot of pieces still that are going to be good, but their starting rotation, guess who is in it right now? One person.
What was it,
Top
like
five.
Logan Webb?
Logan Webb. Every other starter from last year is a free agent right now.
Huh.
So they
I
got
knew
work to
some of
do.
them, or I knew all of them. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're going to look at their fits at starting pitching, Kevin Gausman better be the priority. Um, Alex Wood also had a great season. I think if you're the Giants, if you get both of those guys back, that would be a great move because if you got Webb, Gausman, and then you got a weird throwing lefty Alex Wood as your number three, that would be obviously that would be a great top three because that's what they had last year. I think that DeSclafani would also fit well, but I think he's probably going to get some money somewhere else. I think Gausman was more comfortable in San Francisco because he was kind of bad other places first. I also think
Mhm.
that Corey Kluber would be a good fit for San Francisco. He proved that he could pitch well last year when he was healthy for us. I think he missed about 2 months, maybe, but he was pretty good.
Yeah, and I feel like they love taking flyers on veterans too, so I could see that one happening definitely.
Yeah, like that's what they did last year with Wood and Gossman. They signed them to like 1 year deals and stuff. So
Right.
I think they could do that with Kluber. And I don't think they necessarily like need outfielders, but they could definitely use him because guess what? Chris Bryant did play a lot of outfield. He also played some first base and third base last year, but
Yeah.
you know, obviously they want to have Bryant back, but I don't think they're going to have the money to get him. I think that Nick Castellanos would be a great fit with the Giants. Right-handed bat to fit in there. Not that he's not going to make a lot of money, but I think Bryant may make more just because of his versatility in the field.
Yeah.
Um, and I think with Buster Posey leaving too, I know Joey Bart is supposed to be a really good catching prospect who's right-handed hitting, but now they're losing two big right-handed bats in the middle of that lineup if Brian doesn't come back too. So I think you need to go right-handed here because you have like Yastrzemski is a good lefty in the lineup, Belt, Crawford, but like you need some righties in there. Um, I also think if you want to go a little bit cheaper, Avisail Garcia would be a great fit.
Hmm.
He led the Brewers in RBIs last year. He had a really great season. Tommy Pham too, coming from the division rival Padres. If you want to go with a cheaper option, I mean Tommy Pham is fast too. He can get you some stolen bases. Again, I don't think they necessarily need an outfielder though. But losing Bryant and Posey is kind of like you need another right-handed bat, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, it was funny. You mentioned Castellanos. I feel like I wouldn't have said this like 3, 4 years ago. I might honestly take him over Brian at this point. I know Brian might make more money, but I feel like if you look at like last 2 years or so, Castellanos has been freaking good, man. I know he got
Yeah,
hurt
he
last
has.
year, but like he would have been the MVP conversation if
Mhm.
he was healthy.
Absolutely. But I think the thing is like Castellanos has a lot of fits, and so does Bryant. But like, I think that Bryant's gonna. I don't know, man. For me, it's like the defensive versatility plus how good he is at hitting. Kind of.
Yeah.
I I also think I look at with Bryant too his postseason at bats. He has a lot more postseason at bats than Castellanos. I don't even know if Castellanos has ever played in the playoffs. Last year he did. Actually, in
Yeah,
one
for like a
series
minute. Yeah. So
the Reds didn't do anything. Obviously, they didn't score any runs, so that you don't really look at that.
poor Reds.
But hey, man, I think the Giants. I think they're in a position to maybe win this division again. I know the Dodgers are there. The Padres are going to be better, but
Mm-hmm.
listen, right now they're the defending champs, so um, they're going to be out there with a chip on their shoulder trying to do it again. I think with Gabe Kapler winning Manager of the Year, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think they repeat with 106, 107 wins, but I think the expectation next year should still be going in, like to take that division.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, part of my reasoning is too like the Dodgers have some stuff to figure out. If we're going to move on to the Dodgers here, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously they're the Dodgers. Like they're contending right now. They're going to try to win. But thinking about like starting pitching, they got some holes too, man.
A
Kershaw is a
lot.
free agent. Scherzer is a free agent. Um, I mean, suddenly it looks like they're not the same powerhouse starting rotation as they were.
No.
Um, I believe right now Walker Bueller is the top guy in their rotation, like without talking free agents. It's Walker Bueller. Maybe you possibly move David Price back into the rotation. You have Arias. But, for me, number one is to get Kershaw back. I know that he's gotten hurt more recently, but man, he's your guy. He won you a World Series. Um, I think you got to give him a deal to come back to LA. I don't see him in any other uniform.
It's so hard to picture him anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think Max Scherzer is another priority. I know him and Kershaw are both getting a little bit older too, but Scherzer literally just finished third in Cy Young voting. He obviously liked it in LA, so I think you got to go that way. But do you know what a Dodgers move would totally be? Signing Robbie Ray, because they're just going to go out
Yeah.
there and flex their muscles and be like, okay, we're
I
getting
would
the Cy
hate it.
Young winner.
I would hate it.
That
My
makes too much sense.
No, it's exactly something they would do. I was curious too. We were talking about their rotation depth. Is Trevor May like out all next year for Tommy John?
I believe he had Tommy John maybe in like June or July, or was it earlier than that? I don't remember when it was. I think he's going
Yeah.
to be out for a
So
decent amount of time though. He's
yeah, that's
also
like
young, so I think they're not going to rush him because he's like a kid still. I don't know though. Maybe he'll come back like halfway through the season, and that would be a big boost for them for sure.
yeah, it's just hard to count on though. I'm even thinking of like Syndergaard right now this year. So
Yeah. Again, I think that it's strange to have two of the top teams in a division with this many starting pitchers like leaving or possibly leaving as like free agents. That doesn't really happen a lot.
yeah,
Um, but if you look at like relievers, they need some relief pitching too. Obviously Kenley Jansen is a free agent also. So I think he
Mm.
would also be a great fit back, though. I know he's had his ups and downs in the playoffs, but he had a great season this year. I think he pitched pretty well in October against the Giants. I don't know how well he did against the Braves, but regardless, I think you would like to get Jansen back because they have Trinan in the back still. I think Trinan has another year on his deal, so he'll be
right.
pretty good. I mean, Trinan may even overtake Jansen as the closer next year if Jansen comes back, but regardless, that would still be a great eighth, ninth inning combo. But another guy, I think Raisel Iglesias would be a great fit. That would be another
Mm.
guy the Dodgers would just snatch up, and he would just be filthy. He was on the Angels last year, so he wouldn't have to move very far away either.
No, yeah, it's easy.
And another guy is your guy from the Mets, Jerry's Familia. I think that'd be another guy like the Dodgers would just fucking get, and he would be a stud out of nowhere. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
you know, he just fits like the sinker, 100-mile-an-hour sinker role exactly like Trinan does. So, like, I feel like if they got Familia, it would be like having two Blake Trinans. So,
I'm
um,
curious too. Just thinking of relievers on the market. Is Aaron Loop is a free agent, right?
yes.
So I'm curious to see
That'll
what
be.
I feel like he's gonna get some big demand.
Hey, man, Billy Epler, go out there and get Aaron Loop back
Oh,
too.
please.
Billy Epler has so much work to do, man.
Yeah,
I hope he's working on it right now.
Another big spot though for the Dodgers that's a free agent is third base. Justin Turner is also a free agent.
Right.
Again, if you're looking at who they should sign to play third, obviously Justin Turner is who you should sign to play third. He's the heart and soul of the team. I know he's a little bit older now too, but I don't care, man. Get Justin Turner back in Dodger blue. I can't picture him in another uniform now either. I know he has played for teams previously, but he's
Right.
such a staple in that lineup, dude. I don't know.
No,
I
was
can't
it
see
with
him
this
anywhere else.
postseason history with that team? Yeah.
Right. But another thing the Dodgers would so do is go out there and get Chris Bryant from the Giants. They would just
Snatch him
sign
right
Bryant to
up.
be the everyday third baseman, and he would play some outfield. He's such a Dodger player, like a Chris Taylor type, who can play everywhere. Only he's an even better hitter than Chris Taylor. No offense to Chris Taylor, but you know what I
Right.
mean. Bryant's like,
Another guy we
but
haven't really mentioned. Yeah.
yeah, he actually did decline the qualifying offer too. So we'll see what happens with Chris Taylor.
Mm.
I can't really see him anywhere else than Dodgers either, but we'll see what happens with that. Obviously,
I mean, at some point though, they have to lose somebody.
yeah. But let's say Turner and Bryant suddenly sign with other teams. I think Eduardo Escobar is a guy that would fit pretty well.
Hmm.
I know that he's a little bit cheaper, but that's a guy who can play some second base, can play some first base. So I think that Eduardo Escobar would be a great fit over there in LA. He's used to playing in the division too. He played with Arizona for a while, so I think he would fit pretty well there. Um, so now we're going to move on to a very interesting team in the division, which is the Padres.
Yeah.
With everything that happened last year, I still think you would consider the Padres a contending team.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
I like they kind of just fell apart dramatically out of nowhere. Um, I don't know what happened. I don't think we'll ever really know exactly what happened. Obviously, Machado and Tatis had their words publicly in St. Louis in the dugout there. Um, the thing for me though is when you look at this team, like they don't have many holes. If you look at their lineup
No.
and their rotation. They have their rotation is Darvish, Snell, Musgrove. Clevenger is going to be back this year. Then they have Paddock, and also they have Dinelson Lamet, who got hurt a lot last year too. So where's a hole in that rotation? I don't see one.
Right. I feel like injuries was just a killer for them. I feel like
Right.
everything that went wrong, like could have went wrong for them.
Yeah. Um, I agree, and I think even lineup wise, like a lot of guys got hurt. Tatis had his time on the IL.
Mm.
I think that Myers was out for a little while. But like, dude, Trent Grisham, they got Tatis, Machado, Cronenworth had a great season again. Myers is coming back. They have Hosmer, who he's not the best first baseman anymore hitting wise, but he's the glue in that clubhouse. So I think that's a key piece. Austin Nola is their starting catcher, who 2 years ago was great during the shortened season. And they have Adam Frazier, who was an all star last year. Like, that's not a bad lineup at all.
No, they're set to win now. They've made all these moves. I like there's no going back now. Like I know last season was a disappointment, but still.
Yeah. And I mean, their bullpen, they have Emilio Pagan, who had an off down season last year, but he's been really good for like the past few years with Tampa and then with San Diego. Last year, I think, is a blip. I think he'll be fine. Drew Pomerantz has turned into an awesome back end of the bullpen guy. I'm
Mm.
assuming he will probably be their closer unless they go out and sign somebody else. I mean, dude, they literally have no holes. I guess they could improve the bullpen though if they really want to. Um, I think if they want to take a flyer on somebody, go out there and sign Trevor Rosenthal. He had a great
Yeah.
month or so with them in the shortened season. Again, obviously he just got hurt and missed this whole season. But I think that would be a great fit. Otherwise, I think maybe the Padres take a page out of the Dodgers book, go out and get Joe Kelly from a division rival from the
Mm.
Dodgers. I think he would fit great with the personality on that team. If you want to go with the other guy with personality, Archie Bradley, I think would fit great in San Diego, like we talked about last week with him fitting into Toronto. And
Right.
Raisel Iglesias too, if you want to go a little bit of a quieter guy. But I think, man, I don't know. I don't see a hole here. I don't see how they finish with a record below. They were below 500, I believe, right this year.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Somehow.
I don't see how that's even possible this upcoming season. Do you? I don't
No,
see
I
it.
think the expectation like next year is like 90 wins, like minimum. Like the talent is there. I know everything went wrong, but no, I think the expectation next year is absolutely playoffs.
I mean, because if you think about it, like if Darvish goes out there and shoves, if Snell does the same, Musgrove does what he did this year,
Hmm.
Clevenger comes back and is a beast. I mean, they could easily have the best rotation in baseball if everybody does what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
They
Yeah.
they have six starters who could easily be in the top three Cy Young voting. Honestly, like Lamet
Right.
obviously is a beast. Paddock hasn't shown his full potential. I don't think yet. I think he still has some things to show out there. So we'll see, but I think it's going to be very interesting for San Diego because they really don't have much to do this offseason. They kind of just got to roll it out there and see what happens again, but they got to fix the clubhouse chemistry. I
Yeah.
think that's first and foremost the issue that they have to fix right away. And I
Hmm.
think Bob Melvin will be a great guy to fix that, by the way. New manager from Oakland. Who else would be better to fix the Padres' chemistry than Bob Melvin?
Yeah. No, I think he's a like an easy presence for them. Right.
Yeah. So now we're gonna move down to the lower two teams in this division, who honestly, dude, not that long ago were finishing second and third in the West. Back in 2017, they
They
played
were
each
up
other in the
there.
wild
Yeah.
card game. which is weird how they just dropped off completely. But the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. We'll start with the Rockies. They're obviously rebuilding, but it seems like they're always rebuilding because they're just trying to find a way to win in Colorado. Um, I think they have some pieces like they signed C.J. Cron back, Charlie Blackmon came back. They actually have decent starters too, like Herman Marquez,
Marquez
Sensatella,
is
Freeland.
nice. Yeah.
I think if they want to go, maybe go for like some veteran infielders who have to bounce back, maybe trade them at the deadline. Matt Carpenter would maybe fit over there, because obviously playing in Colorado is going to help a lot of guys offensively, so that might boost their trade value too. Another guy is Cesar Hernandez, who had a career high in homers last year between the Indians and the White Sox. If
Hmm.
he goes there, he might hit even more homers and then get traded to a contender again, like he did this year. Um, Another guy is Eduardo Escobar. I know I talked about him with a contender. He could also fit great in Colorado, boost his value a lot by hitting like 20 homers before the deadline. And then, you know what I mean? Like he could be a great guy to fit in there.
Yeah.
And if I guess you could say some relievers there because we talked about their starting rotation. They actually have a pretty good rotation. Obviously, maybe you want John Gray to sign back. I don't know if he's going to or not. But I would go with a couple of guys who have actually had some success in Colorado. Adam Ottavino is a free agent. He's
Hmm.
had success previously there for like almost a decade. I think he was there for a long time. Another guy, Michael Givens, who got traded from them to the Reds at the deadline this year, but had a pretty solid season in Colorado too. And then if you want to go for a guy who needs a bounce back, go Dylan Betances. Although I don't think many pitchers who need a bounce back are going to go to Colorado. Um,
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know really. There's not much to say here. It's like they're going to hit, and they got to hope that their pitching isn't terrible. That's really the formula in Colorado for me.
Right. And
Unless
is
they get a,
Story definitely out? I lost track with him.
he didn't accept the qualifying offer, so he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Definitely, I don't
And I
think
don't
he'll
think
come
they're
back.
resigning him. No.
um, like, there's no reason to. If you open up the checkbook for that, it would be the same Arenado situation. Then you have to trade him 2 years later. So I don't think they would do that.
Hmm.
Um, Man, I think the biggest thing they got to fix is get a fucking dome because that would change everything. Then you could actually make a contender.
I'm trying to. Would it change it though? Like I don't know how altitude works there. Like
I don't know if it would actually. I don't know. I just feel like that's
no, that's a, honestly I would have thought the same thing
yeah,
too. But like
maybe
yeah, man,
not.
this has been like 25 years now, and they can't figure
Yeah.
out the secret.
It's like they've made the playoffs like a decent like a few times, not a decent like I don't know, maybe like
They made
four
the
or
World
five times.
Series. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They like were in the World Series against the Red Sox that year in 2007, I think. So like it's not like they've never won, but like it's tough. I think it's tough to like win consistently because I think the wear and tear on guys' bodies there each and every year is like a lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's why I think Blackman has kind of not been the same player recently. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't really know. I know that like Tulowitzki probably had the same issues there because he got hurt a lot there also when he was playing. So I don't know. I don't think there's any chance they're competing even close in this division because of the three monsters out of them.
No. Yeah.
Um, and the same way with the Diamondbacks. I mean, the D-backs. I don't think they had the worst record in the league, but they were pretty
They're
damn
pretty
close.
close.
Um, I mean, I think their starting rotation is okay. They have Bumgarner, Zach Gallen is a pretty good pitcher. I know he was hurt a lot last year. I think maybe they could add some relievers because they had Joaquim Soria for a while last year, and he retired now. So, I think former Diamondback Archie Bradley, if no contenders are signing him, he would fit great there. Maybe trade him at the deadline. And then maybe go for some guys coming off some injuries too. Alex Colomé, Kirby Yates, injuries or bad seasons, whatever you want to look at it. They could use some infielders. I mean, guys, like I said, looking to bounce back. Andrelton Simmons maybe could fit there
Yeah.
because I don't know if any contender is going to want him. I know his defense is elite, but he was really bad at hitting last year, kind of out of nowhere. Asdrubal Cabrera would be a re-sign. I'm surprised they didn't actually trade him at the deadline. He's a former Met, right? I think he's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
with
He
the
get a
Mets
good
for
run
a
for
while.
us. Yeah.
Joe Panic too. Wasn't he on the Mets for a little while? Also, at
Yeah.
some
We've had
point.
a lot of guys bounce
Yeah.
back through our team.
I
Yeah.
think that like like they just get guys like that, and if they have good first halves, trade them at the deadline. You know, contenders are going to want them. Maybe they could use some outfielders too. Like I think Dexter Fowler coming off the ACL injury, he barely played. I don't think he played at all actually. He would maybe fit there because Arizona is a good place to hit. And in that division, you also have Colorado, which is a good place to hit. So some guys that want to get their offense back up could go there. Andrew McCutchen, I don't think he's going to go to somewhere where there's not a contender, but if he wants to
Probably not.
boost his offensive numbers, go to Arizona. They could also re-sign Cole Calhoun, who was there the past like 2 or 3 years.
Mm,
Kind of had a down season last year, I think, but obviously he was comfortable there, so that would be another route to go if you were them. The D-backs, I don't know, man. There's not much that's very exciting about the team, but
not particularly, no.
listen, Zach Gallen, I think, could be a great pitcher, though. So I think
He's
that's
just
something we
healthy.
can look
Yeah.
at. Christian Walker has honestly been a pretty good replacement for Paul Goldschmidt since he
Mm,
came up. Ketel Marte is also a great player. So obviously, we want to pump the brakes on that a little bit because if he has a great first half, he could be out the door
you
after a
might,
while.
yeah.
So,
That's how it works.
but still, I mean, I think Ketel Marte is honestly one of my favorite center fielders in the league to watch too. He moved from second base to the outfield, and he's been great. So we'll see what happens, but I think these bottom two teams are definitely going to finish below 500 in the NL West.
Right. Yeah. So shifting over to the ALS, I mean, starting with the Astros, I would say like the first priority is like re-sign Correa, but that's just not happening. I think they offered him what 160 mil, like 5 years, 160, something like that. That they just don't seem particularly interested in. So, I think he's gone. And then the question is who replaces him. So that's first question for me. Resign Verlander, but also with Greinke now, who's filling that hole as well. I mean, so yeah, I'm curious, like if they're the front runner next year going in. I would think still, even like assuming you lose those two guys, but
Yeah, I would say they're going to find somebody to replace Correa, like less money, maybe like even an Andrelton Simmons or something.
right, that was the
If,
name
if
that popped in my head, but
kind of fill the void there. Like their rotation isn't now that they got Verlander back. I think that they're the favorite because you're gonna have Framber, Verlander, Luis Garcia. They do have Odorizzi still, and I think they have a
mm-hmm.
guy Urquidy.
Key,
So
yeah,
even if they don't get Greinke back, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Greinke's market is going to be interesting because I think he's almost as old as Verlander too. So I don't know how
he's
much they're
getting
going to
up there.
get
Yeah,
because he's kind of coming off a bad season in his standards, I guess. So I don't really know what's going to happen with him.
right. So the second place I think is more interesting. Like look at Seattle. Like my question is like, why not go for it? Like I don't know if they're interested. Like we talked about how Seager is probably out. I just don't get it though. Like you won 91 games. And I mean, like with Correa basically gone, I feel like this division is there for the taking. So, I mean, you have a guy like Kikuchi who's a free agent. I would look to probably resign him. Looking at guys on the market like a Marcus Stroman, obviously I don't want him going anywhere, but like that's a guy you should be targeting. I mean, bullpen pieces. We talked about Iglesias, Bradley. So like I feel like
Yeah.
they have a shot. And I know it was like their run differential was bad, so like they're probably worse than they looked. But I don't know, man. Like it's there for them.
To me, man, they have pieces too. Like Mitch Haniger is a beast.
Yeah.
Jared Kelnick is most likely going to have a great season after he was kind of up and down this year.
Right.
Um, I mean, they have J.P. Crawford is great at shortstop. He's getting better every year, but he's an awesome defender. I think if you're them, then I mean, if you really want to go for it, like I said a couple weeks ago, go out there and fucking sign Correa and put him at third base and
That'd be
really shove it to the
interesting.
Astros. But I don't think they're going to do that. They're in talks though with Simeon too. I think Simeon would be a great fit there.
I would love that move. Yeah.
So I mean, the top of the lineup with Simeon, Haniger, and Kelnick, that would be sick. So that would be really good. I mean, yeah, like bullpen pieces. They also signed Ken Giles before last year started, and he had Tommy John, so he never pitched at all. But he's
Yeah.
also going to be on the team this year, and he's been actually a pretty solid reliever over his career. With he was pretty good with the Blue Jays. With the Phillies, he wasn't great, but yeah, I mean, go get Archie Bradley, go get Iglesias from the Angels. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? It's like I don't see. You also have the longest postseason drought in the four North American sports, so
Right. I mean, might as well go for it. So going to the third place, the A's again, like never really know what to expect, but the rumor is they might be looking at a fire sale. Like so, talks about Chapman, Olsen. I know those talks to Olsen on the Yankees Twitter last night coming your way. Um, so again, like well, like what's the direction? Like if you're gonna get rid of one, get rid of like all. There's no point of finishing 500. But
yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
yeah, no, if you want to compete, I mean, then maybe look at cheaper guys like an Escobar. I don't know. Is like Castellanos out of their market? Maybe. So, but
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think. Yeah, I mean, they could go for like other guys like Duval or Eddie Rosario, even Jorge Soler. Like they could try to
Right.
get those guys maybe on like a 1 year deal or something. In my opinion, though, I think you probably feel mostly the same. They're gonna sell, and I think
Yeah.
that means Chapman. I've heard Chapman to the Mets could be possible. Also, that would be a great move
Mm,
for you guys.
that's
But yeah,
interesting.
I mean, Olsen to the Yanks makes so much sense. I really hope we do it. Also, like Chris Bassett is great. He's coming off a solid season again. He could get traded because I think him and Mania are both free agents after 2022. Mania also great pitcher.
Right.
I think they probably have some bullpen pieces they could sell off. I mean, they got Mark Canna could go. I feel like he's been an A for his whole career now, but like he's a solid platoon right-handed hitter guy. I don't know, man. I don't see why not. I just really think that right now the A's just got to sell because they might be moving to Vegas at some point too. Right now,
That would
just
suck.
I
Damn.
it would suck, but like if they're gonna sell now so that when the stadium's ready in Vegas, they're ready to fucking spend and then they have a great team when they get there. You know what I mean? If that's gonna happen. We don't know yet, but like we'll see.
Yeah. I feel like that's the direction they're going, which like I feel like
Yeah.
sucks as a fan, but not atypical of the A's. So getting down to the Angels, I mean, I written down pitching as the first priority, and they went out and got Syndergaard. So I think that's a good first move. But like, there's gotta be more. Like we're saying, there's gotta be a look at like a third guy, a fourth guy. I mean, obviously we mentioned Ray is out there.
I've
Strom.
heard like preliminary things that the Angels are actually looking at Ray. Obviously, that's very early, but he's going to want a lot of money. But if they got Otani, Syndergaard, Ray, that's something then.
No, then it gets interesting. I mean, I could
Yeah.
see again like Stroman. I could see as a really good fit for them. Um, Rafael Iglesias, we mentioned a few times now. He like the priority should be re-sign him as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's hard for me to tell how far away they are because like there is so much
Yeah.
talent on this team.
There
But
is.
yeah, I think I like we're saying at least like two more starters.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some more bullpen pieces too, if you can. Like,
Right.
getting Iglesias back would be a great start because he had a great season. I believe they still have like Justin Upton too, right? I think.
Probably.
Like
That
who's a
sounds like
pretty good
something they
player
have.
still. Like they have David Fletcher at second base, who's a pretty solid player too. Oh fuck, who's the guy? They had a first baseman break out last year.
Walsh.
Yes, he was
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah. He was
he was like
good.
the reason why they let Pujols go. Like, so Walsh had a great season. He actually had that homer off of Chapman at Yankee Stadium and like whatever it was, but we were
Right,
winning big,
right.
and then it was like a huge comeback, and we lost that game, and it sucked. It was like
I
the
vividly
Pirates
remember
last
that
year.
game.
So,
Yeah.
so like it's like you think about the Angels, like could they somehow, if they get some pitching, kind of go up? Like I don't see why not. They have a great offense
Yeah.
with Rendon, Trout, Otani, Fletch. I'm like the guys we just said. So I don't know. They're an interesting. I just don't understand. I think they're just gonna stay the way they are because it's almost like it's written in stone now that Mike Trout is just never gonna see the playoffs ever again.
Dude. No, we have this conversation every year. I mean, well, I mean, for one thing, he's got to stay healthy. I mean, it's not like his fault, but like he's
Yeah,
really become injury prone at this point.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we're not even talking offseason anymore, but like Anthony Rendon has to be better. Like he
yeah.
had a bad year, so
I think he was hurt for a while too.
that's true. He was hurt, but
Yeah,
when he was healthy, it was
like
good.
they also because yeah. Well, again, if we talk about Trout for a second, he was hurt like the majority of the season too.
Right,
That
right.
explains why they weren't that close. Like I think he got hurt in May and he never played again. So like, and again, I don't want to really get into that because a lot of people don't want to hear this. But Trout has been getting hurt a decent amount. Hopefully, he stops getting hurt. But I think it was like there was a stat like when the season ended that like the past 5 years, Judge has played like the same amount of games as Trout, and everyone gets on Judge for like being hurt all the time. But like
True.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Angels, man. It's a very weird team right now.
Yeah, I guess my point is like they should be up there. Like I know
Right.
we're looking at them fourth right now. Like easily be second.
Yeah.
Not crazy to think first, but you never know. And then probably, no offense, least interesting team in this division, the Rangers. They're just looking to build. I mean, they got the newer stadium now. I mean, some pieces, but I think you might be looking at cheaper guys. I don't know, like give a shot like an Andrew McCutcheon, um, like a Cesar Hernandez. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't, I feel like they're still a ways away, but maybe take a flyer on some cheaper guys.
Yeah, I think like they got a solid kind of outfield right now. Like they have Adolis Garcia in right field. Willie Calhoun is supposed to be pretty good. He gets hurt all the time though. But he's supposed to be the left fielder. Who do they have in center? They have somebody in center who's actually been pretty good too. I
Yeah,
think.
I know who you're talking about. I just
Oh
can't
no
put
no
him.
no no! I was actually thinking. I was thinking of Gallo, but Gallo's not there. Because I
Rip
remember
Gallo.
they had at the All Star break they had Gallo and Adolis Garcia starting in the outfield. I think.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
That was when Gallo was still a Ranger. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like their their pitching they got to figure out.
Hmm.
I don't even know who's the top guys in their rotation right now. To be honest, I don't even know. Do you? I have no clue.
No, for a second, like Lance Lynn popped in my mind. I was like, he's
Yeah,
just very much not on the team anymore. No.
I know. Yeah. But I've heard I still have been hearing rumors about Seager to the
Hmm.
Rangers because I also found this interesting. Chris Woodward is the manager there. He was the third base coach for the Dodgers for a while when Seager was there. So I think they have a good relationship too. Obviously, if Seager goes there, he's got to realize that it's going to be a little while before they win. But like,
It's a thought. Yeah.
it's a similar situation to like Harper to Philly. I know they're trying to win now, but like, or I don't know, these guys like when Hosmer went to San Diego, it was going to be a few years. Like
Yeah.
deals like that.
Well, if we're talking Dodgers to Texas, I mean, the rumor's always been that Kirsch would look there at one point
That's what I was
because
thinking.
like it's his home. But again, like I don't know, that's still more of a long shot to me. But he's won the ring at this point, so I don't think it's like a
Yeah.
crazy idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like Kershaw actually grew up like within an hour of the stadium. Like he was
Hmm.
really close to there. I think he went to games there all the time. I've heard. So like it wouldn't really surprise me. I do think he's going to go back to LA, but if he goes anywhere else, you might as well go home where you comfortable. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
So that's looking at AL West and NL West. All right, and that wrapping it up. Give me the stat of the week. What do you got this week?
So stat of the week, kind of about the Cy Young conversation. So Robbie Ray had a 6.62 ERA in the 2020 season, which was the shortened season. But this is the highest ERA by a pitcher in a season prior to winning their Cy Young award ever. So I know it was a shortened season, but
Damn.
obviously, like there was significantly less innings pitched. He may have figured it out eventually in a 6 month season. His innings pitched was like 51 compared to 193 this year. So like odds are he wouldn't have been that bad, but still, that's kind of interesting that he was that bad in like a 3 months, 2 month span.
Right. Well, that's why I mixed up the Burns thing earlier because I was like Burns span 2020. No, it was Ray that was. That's what who I was thinking of.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's I mean, yeah, 51 innings not a lot, but still it's a huge bounce back. Plus, I think his career ERA is about 4. So like it just putting the point on how like unprecedented season
yeah,
was.
yeah. So Good for Robbie Ray, man. Hopefully he gets a big contract wherever he goes because I think he's going to be a great pitcher. He's lefty too. He's going to be good for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that wraps up for us. We'll be back next week to talk a little more off season, potentially more CBA stuff. But yeah, take care, guys.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.